Welcome to Under the Microscope. I am your host, Jenny Germano. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I'm excited for this next episode. We are doing the Cannabis Operator Series. And before I dive in, I just want to give a little bit about my background. I got my start working in the Colorado cannabis industry in 2009. And since 2015, when I founded my company, ICS Consulting, I've been helping cannabis operators navigate the regulatory landscape for the last 10 years across the United States. And let's everyone give a warm welcome to my next guest. I feel like I've known this person forever. Let's welcome Anthony Mollins. And some of us know Anthony as AJ. And Anthony is the founder of AJ's Craft Cannabis and also known as AJ's Farm here in Boone, Colorado. Welcome, AJ.
Beautiful Boone, Colorado. Thank you.
Beautiful. It's actually really pretty over there. I love that area. It's big skies, big open fields, not a lot of people in Boone.
Not a lot of people. I'll make up like almost a percent.
Are there a lot of businesses in Boone, or is it just cultivation facilities? Or
There's not a lot of businesses. We have a hardware store and we have farm. We have a bar too.
and for those who might not where Boone is, you're about how far from Colorado Springs?
So beautiful Boone takes me like 55 minutes. Most people about an hour or five, but it's an hour south. East of Pueblo,
Okay,
25 minutes.
from Colorado Springs. That's good to know, just in case somebody listening has no idea where Boone, Colorado is. For
Well,
Boone Docks.
yeah, the boonies.
Why don't you go ahead and share about your background you did before cannabis and then when you entered into the cannabis industry and when you started your license up here in Colorado?
Wow, before cannabis, that's 20 something years ago. I went to school in Minnesota and then out east. And then I moved to Breckenridge, spring break, senior year. After I went snowboarding in Breckenridge, drove back to college, spring break, senior year. Packed up my crap, left school, moved to Breck to become a snowboarder. Started growing weed from the Godfather, 𝗘𝗍𝗳𝗓. I don't know if he's still around. He's somewhere. And that's when growing weed started for me in 2001.
Wow.
And after that, I moved to Lake Tahoe. Up to 16, I moved to Tahoe in 2005 and had farms or grow houses or warehouses. I had them all over the state with other people. Opened the first dispensary up in Northern Lake Tahoe, West Shore, North Shore, Truckee, called Tahoe Herbal
I know where
Care.
Truckee is. Truckee's cool.
Yeah, Truckee, Tahoe, it's so amazing. And then that was 2009. In 2014, I sold that nonprofit and moved to Colorado to build out my dream, imaginary, come to life grow design that I have now here.
That's fantastic. And so you've been doing this a while, pretty much over 10 years in Colorado, plus the California market. Are there big differences between the markets, or do you think the challenges are still the same? That each market, whether you're in California or Colorado, they each have their own set of challenges in that state?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say if you're looking at the markets and how they were with the Prop 216, people who really desired or cared about the cannabis industry, they were the real market. Now in Colorado and legality, it's anybody's in it now. So it's changed.
Yeah.
Price points changed, products have changed. And I would say quality's changed. People are now looking for, oh, I want the duck, for the buck, where Cali back in the day was more, who's got the best? And you could always find cheap crap, but it was really the push to create the best product possible. And that's where we thrived in California, and that's how we're thriving here today.
Yeah. I think too, the
Oh,
cannabis culture is pretty immersed in California. Still to this day, I'm sure it's evolved since when you were there, but that's one thing California has always had. I always say they have great local events all over the state, and they still have really good cannabis culture, where these more new emerging markets, the cannabis culture might not be as deeply rooted.
We have the Emerald Cup in California, which is going for 30 years or something.
Mm-hmm.
And people give, I would say, the three biggest states that I recognize after going to college out east as well. Vermont has a pretty cool cannabis culture. Colorado, solid. You look at Netherlands and some of the first places where really good weed was. Fort Collins, my first favorite strain ever was grapefruit from Fort Collins.
Boulder, I never bought bud in
Yeah,
Denver. I would
Boulder.
drive up to Boulder and buy it off my dealer. I knew a lot of people I would purchase from. They would leave Colorado and go work the harvest season in California.
You know what they're called?
They would take off and go there, and then they would come back with just truckloads of it and sell it to all of us in Denver.
They're called Trimagant.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, he was definitely a trimagant. So the person that I was getting it from, some good old memories.
We have all these farms all over NorCal, and we would have, it's like a community. And my friend Zach, he would be like the chef, and we would have 30 or 40 Trimagants and friends from all over the world. We had a lot of people from Spain and Europe and many people in South America, and they would come and stay for 6 months.
That's
And just
crazy.
live on. We had a whole community. We had bands that would play. We had meals, like 3 meals a day. Everybody worked 16 hours a day.
Wow.
And I just wrote a screenplay, and all of this is in there.
That's wild. I'm surprised I never did that. I came into the industry in my 40s, so I was not drawn
You're
to
in your
go.
40s. Come on.
No, I'm in my 50s,
Are you
actually.
serious? Oh, my.
Yes, I'm Italian. We have good skin in our family. But yeah, the hair is getting gray, though. I will say that. So I went to your website. I hadn't been there in a while. And I also went to your social media pages, doing a little research. And I took this from one of your pages, and it basically describes your cultivation facility: subterranean hybrid grow, the best of all worlds, growing indoor, underground, full and diffuse sunlight, geothermal cooling in 8-year-old living soil. So I would now say that living soil is 10 years old, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So I thought that was a good description. It's one of the reasons why I want to have you on, because your cultivation facility is very unique. And a lot of times when I have people on that do cultivation, it's outdoor grow or it's in a warehouse. And your facility is underground. And I've been in it. And I know you have a 2.0 version, which I haven't seen yet. I believe. Weren't you building a 2.0 version?
Yeah, it's done, and it's something else.
Yeah. So I haven't seen the 2.0, but I've seen the original. And here's how I explain it to people. If you had Luke Skywalker's house that he grew up in, and it had a baby with an earthship, and then we put a grow in it. Because I actually love earthships. I've been to Tahoe's. I've stayed in a lot of earthships. I've gone and toured the large earthship that's out there in Tahoe's. I find it fascinating because it's a home that you can live in, but also I love that you can have a garden inside the earthship and grow vegetables and all these different things. And that's why it reminded me of an earthship. But of course, you have modern conveniences. So it's not like you're living on a different planet or anything like that. What inspired you to do that? Was that something that you learned in California?
Great question. So I started dreaming about it in California when legalization was on the ballot in California, thinking about the legal growing cannabis in the future. And how are you going to grow this crop the best way you possibly can at the lowest cost? So the best way to survive. And I would say even today, most facilities, warehouses and different facilities, greenhouses, even cold frames, all the different things are designed for perennial, annual, this or that or the other. My design was thinking, I'm just building this for cannabis. And I started visiting Tahoe's, places in Colorado, Horticulture Institute, to have the soil, to have everything that you need in the most perfect fashion, along with the best environment, soil, everything. And that's where I came up with this 15 feet underground, of which you have seen version 2. We pump in rainforest music. We've eliminated all interior fans. There's no mechanical noise. The frequency and vibration is perfect. Everything in my version 2 is so butter. And it is clear and diffused white. We do also have HPS. We have LEDs in the veg, but I really like the HPS. In the wintertime, when it's mainly blue light of the sun, we will pump HPS light during the winter, but that also helps heat. And so the geothermal factor with our airflow, we have nearly zero electricity bill the way that we grow now because of our inflation factor, keeping our constant temperature at 60 degrees.
And what's a good example of an electric bill then?
So 15,000 square feet of grow, right around $2,500. It's even less in the summer. It's actually more, we have less trouble cooling with the design I built mechanically than heating and providing light in the winter. In the wintertime, it'll bump up to 6,000. In the summertime, we'll get down to as low as like $2,500, $2,000.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. And I apologize, I can't screen share a picture. I haven't really mastered that technique yet, but I will have AJ's information in the description box, and then you can go to his website because there are pictures on there of what it looks like.
The website's really old, though. The website,
it's okay.
Instagram stuff.
Go to Instagram too. I'll have all that on the link. I'm curious about the roof. What is the roof? Are those solar panels or is it glass? Because it's interesting. You can't see anything else except the roof, and that's all you really see.
Yeah, the building is completely underground. All that you see is the roof. And I've used different types of roof, believe it or not. So I didn't stick with one. Everybody's going to do the sheeting or they're going to do polycarbonate or whatever they're going to decide. I use different types of it so that I can get full sun. Every plant receives full sun twice, 2 hours a day. So and then they get diffused light the rest of the time. So it's scattered to make perfect plants. What I researched is you don't want full sun all the time. It's just so much. But if you give them full sun and then diffuse light and then full sun, starts diffuse, full, diffuse, full, diffuse. So every day the plants go through that cycle of light.
Does diffuse light, is that similar to, like, sometimes I'll be out and I'll see farms, whether it's plants or even fruit trees, I'll see like shade cloths. And I know shade cloths have certain percentages. Is that considered diffuse light?
It is. You're going to get like 60-40 or something like that with the cloth like that.
Okay.
But the main reason they would use that is for cooling because it gets so hot. And the wild thing is if you're letting full sun into an indoor space, think about the cooling factor, the BTUs that the sun puts off. And that's probably why most people use mainly diffuse 80-20, 70-30. But with the geotech that we're using, we can cool it for nothing because we're exchanging the air every minute and a half and also providing a little bit different light spectrums throughout the day.
Yeah. So when you were launching the cultivation in Colorado, what were some of the biggest challenges? Did you have any building challenges? Did you have to hire someone to help you, or were you doing everything yourself?
I had to hire a GC because I didn't have my license. I did do everything myself. I was the first to the track, so I was able to push it out really fast. But with the mechanical permits and different permits that I had to get, they'd never seen anything like what I'm building before. Even my engineers, I had to sign waivers. Like they said, we'll draw it like this, but we're not going to guarantee it works. And after the fact, they're like, wow, that works really well. So it's more outside the box, but providing something nobody'd seen before was a pain in the butt in the beginning.
And I'm assuming for the 2.0 version, you probably took lessons from the original one that you wanted to improve upon or things that you wanted to change. And so you were able to do that and make those changes.
I'm building and learning from the Culture institutes I've been to in different places around the world. Nobody done it at the scale or for precise BPD or atmosphere to anything I was trying to do in here. So I learned it's costly lesson. Fortunately, cannabis at the time, the margins were well enough where you could learn those lessons and still create and build and design. Version 2 is so butter. I'm very excited for version 3, which I figured out what's wrong with everything. There's always a better that you can improve. And that's exactly how I operate, unfortunately.
No, I love it. Have you done any of these builds in other states? Has anyone ever said, hey, I want to hire you, come out and build me this
I
underground
have.
cultivation
And
facility? Because I would
I,
think, why is this not popular? I'm always so shocked, honestly.
I had a lot of people right away, but I wasn't confident enough with my first build because it
Hmm.
didn't perform the way I needed. Version 2, it does. And I'm interested in doing version 3. Of course, I finished version 2 after the whole COVID thing, and everything slowed down a lot after that. And then giant farms would come in and they're producing so much. Maybe it's mid, but so much driving the price down where people aren't looking for this as much.
Your craft, it's basically craft.
Our terpenes are off the chart. Or it's the upfront expense. A lot of people go into this business. I'm going to make a company, build it up, sell it in 3 to 4 years. And this style isn't exactly that model because they can throw up cold frames and that's what is it called again? Whatever greenhouse. And they can just build it up and make a product to sell. And that's a push for a lot of people.
Yeah, I find it interesting. What kind of climates would this work in? Colorado, we're a dry, arid climate. And is Boone considered the high desert?
It is high desert and extreme climate is where it's more difficult to control.
Okay.
It works anywhere in the world. Actually, when I was researching it, I'm from Minnesota. I stopped. There was a farm 30 minutes from my hometown. And I was like, oh my gosh, it looked extreme. I saw some in Rifle. I saw some in Tahoe. In India, I visited
Oh, okay.
Permaculture Institute.
Permaculture.
So I was looking at, I want to be sustainable all the way around. And initially, we were even using all of our cannabis waste for compost.
Yes.
But because it remediates the soil so much, and then they added heavy metals testing, you had to stop using that compost because we kept putting the heavy metal back in the soil.
Oh, that's interesting. What led you to your cultivation philosophy that you've developed? Is this something that keeps evolving? Is this something 19-year-old AJ was like thinking about weed?
I didn't even smoke weed when I was 19. I started at 21, but as soon as I did start, everybody started to get the brick weed and then goes to better weed and better weed. You
Yeah.
always want to find the best in everything. And I want to be the best. And even in California, I wasn't the best, but when I opened the dispensary, vendors to me, I started meeting people who were doing amazing things. And this guy, Mark, from Tahoe, North Shore, all this stuff. He was running a nursery. He was bringing me the feedback, smelling, tasting stuff there was. And he was growing in soil and he knew how to make soil and soil, but he was indoor. And then I started doing greenhouse and then we had other farms all over Cali. And it evolved to the idea of, wow, what if there were no limitations, because there were then, what could you really do? And when the roof lifted on limitations, that's when I sold all of that and came out here to design this, to try to make something that was purpose built to grow the best possible stuff.
Have you had any permaculture groups want to come tour your facility?
I have not. I guess I have, but nobody had. But I've spoken with many groups and people traveling across the country and whatever, but nobody's come through yet. Even though there's people right down the road.
Gosh, I would think students would just want to come and learn and see what you're doing, and what a fascinating. I do know it's hard to give tours of cultivation facilities too,
Exactly.
versus it's a lot easier probably to tour an outdoor versus something underground. And I do know that people, I think when I first met you, which was probably like 8 or 9 years ago, you wouldn't let me come in for a while. I couldn't get into you're like, I don't let anyone in. And then finally you were like, okay, you got to come down and check out my grow. Finally you decided I was worthy to come into the facility. But when I first met you, when we had a call, it was a long time ago. You were like, I don't let anyone in my cultivation facility. And rightfully, you're the biosecurity guard, right?
Yeah, that and also just the information. I was doing something nobody was doing. I had some very interesting high level people initially, and I could tell they were trying to get information and they had to
Mm.
shut the door. That was it.
One of my other things I want to talk about is like many operators, they choose fully indoor or fully outdoor. And then you've taken this hybrid approach, combining indoor control with natural sunlight. What advantages does that give you? I know we talked a little bit like a lower energy bill. You're not off the grid, but what advantages does it give you? I think a lot of people are afraid to build these types of grows because what if there's a power outage?
Well, power outage, imagine if you were an indoor, you'd really be screwed. The way I've designed mine, if we lose power, everything still operates like the gravity fed water. So if we lose power, we still have water. We can mechanically open and close the light deprivation system. So the whole design initially was to be able to be off grid, and it would be very simple to change this so it would be off grid. We could build this anywhere in the world and run with wind and solar, but it's all what is the end of the mean. So we want to just produce the highest quality product possible. And in order to do that effectively and efficiently every single day, well, just next up my volume.
Yeah, it sounds like water's running.
So we have a high, dry dehumidifier climate in the headroom or the processing room. And we control the temperature and humidity in this room,
Yeah.
which then cycles through our curing and drying.
Oh,
So
cool.
we keep the bulk correct, and then that goes to the other rooms. You don't
Yeah.
over dry too fast or too slow.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's not going to affect us. Continuing talking about your philosophy, like how difficult is it operationally to maintain soil-based grows compared to more traditional hydro systems?
Oh my gosh, they're trying to push us out. With all the new terpene, microbial, they don't differentiate between beneficial or non-beneficial microbial. So we've had to change so many different things. We add I'm not going to tell you the product, but we add something to our soil which locks up heavy metals as well.
Okay.
But the one thing that a lot of things are more challenging. Hydro is just, and I do hydro for 12 years, 15
Yeah.
years. And the whole pump and dump and feasters and mids and whatever, everything kind of is the thing. The thing that you don't get, and with most of my genetics as well are very land raised, OG strain, OG, now these are OG. When you give them all the stuff, when you give them all the available
I knew what you
nutrients,
meant.
thank you, in case anybody else. But when you give a plant all the available nutrients, it builds its own defenses to pests and molds and whatever. And in hydro and stuff like that, you're allowing your plant 20, 30 available nutrients max. Most people are in that. We have thousands of available nutrients. So our plants are so healthy. When we chop them, they're still green or purplish or whatever they're supposed to be. So they have the real value of what that plant can produce. Where hydro is not even healthy.
Wow. No, that's awesome. Let's see. I already asked that question. I put in here about your 2.0 version. Now you're moving on to your 3.0. And I know we're not going to give away any trade secrets.
Well, you know me, Jen.
I know. You're not going to give it up. I know.
How can you?
I kind of want to talk about sustainability and efficiency. And I think what's cool is I've actually seen you give a couple speeches. I think a long time ago, you gave one at a conference that was in Denver and then also in Oklahoma. We ran into each other and got to spend some time together in Oklahoma when the medical industry was just getting going. I think it was a CannaCon that
Yep.
we got to connect at. And Oklahoma definitely is a wild industry. Sustainability seems like a core part of your operation. So, how are you balancing environmental responsibility with the financial realities of running a cultivation business? Are there any challenges with that, or you don't really see it as a challenge? Bless you.
Well, thank you. It's a great question that most people get 100% wrong. When you're balancing sustainability with the growth and with financing, people are like, contradict each other. When in reality, it's difficult. You have to get it right. If you're not doing it right, it may just anything happen. And we've gone through that. But once we've got it understood, I used to have 15 employees to run 10,000 square feet, and we grew, and we were even above 15,000. But now I essentially have four. And the four people, because of we have living beds, they're 3 feet deep with soil. We only initially did 18 inches, and that just wasn't enough soil. Now we have companion plants. We have all of the different things to make sure that everything's sustainability all the way around from the soil from finance. So if you're thinking about us, we did a depletion rate, a soil depletion rate for 2.5 years, every week to study what was being sucked out of the soil.
Wow.
That cost us then, but now our nutrients, we feed the soil and the soil feeds the plant. So our nutrient costs are near nothing. Our labor costs are 10% of what they were, and now our energy costs are way below what they were. So not only are we being environmentally, I can't think of anybody who's more environmentally friendly than we are, more organically grown products than we are, or has the financial sustainability.
Yeah, I hear that term organic a lot in the cannabis industry. And I feel like sometimes I'm not really sure they're really organic.
Can I say something I probably shouldn't? I was on the committee for organic cannabis.
Well, that's okay. You're going to ruffle some feathers, AJ.
Yes, I am. They kicked me out anyway. So they were like, we're going to do an organic certification, but we're not going to base it on organics. We're going to say we'll use organic salt, organic hydro, not organic soil. So it was all based on indoor, outdoor, and greenhouse. And the way it was done, and I wrote this 3-page letter about, hey, you guys, talked about organic certification. The most organic way to grow is in soil with the sun. Now we're with the sun indoor in a hybrid, so we're indoor growing under the sun, but we are in living soil. We put 0 pesticides down. We don't do any non-organic ingredients at all.
25B, nothing?
No, you didn't really, and a lot of people don't understand, if you want control, you need atmospheric control is number one. If you have great atmospheric control, cleanliness, people don't understand. My building is so clean, and I grow soil. People are like, this is wicked, this girl, I must keep it clean. And then it's cleaning and taking care of your plants. If you're taking care of your atmosphere, your cleanliness, and your plants, you're not going to have those problems. Problems exist. We take crap out immediately because that will affect everything. And folks, we're in different rooms. We have a lot of different rooms. So we can clean a room. And when we're done, we heat the room up above 130 degrees. And that would kill anything that was there. And then we start over.
Wow. Wow, that's really cool. What are some energy or resource efficiencies that operators often overlook when designing cultivation facilities?
Oh my gosh.
You got this. You do consulting, doing this a long time.
Right there. Everybody fight creates problems with the data.
Yeah.
And there's efficiencies all around you. And you're going underground, I'm 15 feet underground. My floor, my walls are 6. When the wind blows and you're in a cold frame, your walls are what's the temperature outside. If the sun's out, what's the temperature outside? If it's winter, what's the temperature outside? You're always battling all these conditions. And we battle from a constant all the time. So if it isn't sunny out and it's the winter time, the fans adjust. We have control. Okay, the sun's not out, the fans we don't exchange here every minute and a half. We'll exchange it every 8 minutes. Well, there's just ways to overcome problems. But if you're just creating problems, you're constantly battling.
Yeah, I'm just curious, and I don't know this because I'm not a grower, but with the sun not being out, we're lucky Colorado's pretty sunny. But let's just say somebody was trying to do this on the East Coast where in some states they don't really see the sun for months. Like, how does that work?
But think about people ask this a lot. So Olympic now, but look at the East Coast. Is there foliage? Is it green? Or the forest?
Yeah, things still grow. Things still grow.
In Olympic National Park in Seattle, it's rainy almost all the time. It's not so much about the sun, it's really about the vapor pressure deficit.
Oh,
we have higher humidity and need a little higher temperature. It's drier, in a little cooler section. You want to create the best atmosphere control. And even if it's not sunny out, the temperature, so on the East Coast, if it's not sunny, you're not going to have to battle the temperature, but now you're going to have to battle airflow and humidity, all of those.
Yeah, no, that's really helpful. And I have been to that park, Olympic National Park. The rainforest, I went and hiked all the different ones throughout Washington State. And I was mesmerized. If I loved rain, I would actually live in Washington State, but I love dry, arid climates. I do not,
Really?
yeah, I do
Well,
not, no, I do not like humidity. I moved to Colorado from Jersey, and it was like the best decision ever in my life was to leave New Jersey and come to Colorado, and I do not miss humidity. I
I
cannot
love it.
stand that you just sit there and sweat and you don't have to do anything. It's
But
even worse when you get to Missouri. Oh my gosh. In the summer, Missouri, for anyone listening from Missouri, I love Missouri. This is the nerdy part of me, but they have incredible wildlife. I like birding. It's like a hobby of mine. But they have incredible migrations that come through the state. Missouri, they have it going on.
barbecue.
I'm not gonna lie. There is some pretty darn good barbecue. Ever
Man,
hang out together in Missouri?
are you kidding me? I remember when I hired you,
Oh,
like
that's right.
in the contract, every time we're there, you have to take us to a new barbecue place.
That's right. We ate a lot of barbecue when we were in Missouri. That's right. We
Oh,
did. It seems so long ago, but that was 2019. We were doing the
oh,
application writing. I had to go get fingerprinted and all this stuff in Missouri. Remember all that craziness?
leather door.
Oh, it was a speakeasy, but it's strange hanging out with people who drink, and I'm not a big drinker. I went to all the bars with you guys when we were in Kansas City. I think Kansas City is an incredible town. I've been to St. Louis too, but I'm more fond of Kansas City, maybe because I spent more time in Kansas City than St. Louis. I wanted to talk about market and product. What do you think separates craft cannabis from large scale commercial cultivation in today's market? And I do want to highlight that there's a lot of people that are doing craft cultivation, like in New Jersey, or they're going to be getting ready to open these craft cultivation facilities in Minnesota and some of these other states coming online. So it's not like people aren't doing craft cannabis.
So again, I like to go back to the nutrient argument where if you're giving something the same thing, you're giving everything the same thing. Everybody wants something different. Something different. All the stuff is grown in the same facility, the same food, the same everything, it ends up being all the same. And in order to get your costs down, which made most of the corporations or people trying to stay alive who aren't getting that biggest savant, it ends up trading the same products across the board. Looks the same, smells the same, it tastes the same, it's just the same, and you're not getting terpenes. When we tell cloud products, that if you're terpenes, we have a plant, the original 𝗘𝗃, and I know people now are coming out with 𝗃. It had nearly every single terpene, and I've never seen a cannabis strain like that. It will
I
get
don't know what that is. Can I just ask? I'm sorry. What do you?
terpene,
No, I know what a terpene is, but what did you say? A pip? What is that?
P-I-F-O. It's a
What is
very
piff?
old strain. It's like a lamb-based strain that a lot of people don't know
Oh,
about.
okay.
So
Putting me.
it's just a strain that I got. Yeah, 𝗃, the terpenes, the nose on that. And craft cannabis, every single strain smells like it should when you're growing it the right way. And nothing will smell the same. When you open a jar, I used to walk into dispensary, even now, and I'll have all my stuff packaged and I'll come in with my bin. And when I open the bin, even though all the bags are sealed and everything, everybody in the place turns and says, what is that smell? Because the aroma is so strong, because it's pumped through the natural way it should. And all the hydro and everything else, you're going to have similar smells, similar taste, similar effects, similar feel, and even chemical kind of hides them. Because we don't add stuff to our water, we just water the soil, and then the plant take out what it needs. You're going to get the true effect, the true feeling, smell, everything from the plant. So the craft shade.
Wow. I have a silly question, or you might laugh at me when I ask this,
I
but
probably will.
I have to know. Why does cannabis sometimes smell like hay?
Well, curing, most likely, if you're, after you chop it, if you just let it stay damp or, cure it properly,
Oh,
you're
okay.
going to have a good standard curing process. And I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is, but I think I have it completely dialed in to bring it down over 10 days. And after 10 days, then you actually do the final harvest, then you cure it again. If people don't cure properly,
Yeah.
Mark Wellstone and often hating some people comment on that, but if you smell like hay, you probably left it too wet. You dried
Mm.
it long, hard. That's typical. Or you dried it and you packaged it, but it wasn't cured. Moisture comes out and it just turns to hay. That's
Yeah.
not good.
Sometimes I'll smell it and I'll be like, this does not smell very
Yeah.
good at
And
all.
the problem with if you're a grower and you send it to fencing, you don't know how they're going to maintain what you sent
It's
to them.
true. That's true.
So you got to get it perfect before you send it out. And the way that industry works is like chop, harvest, package, sell. And you want to get it just right. If you don't get it just right,
Maybe you've met these people out there. Maybe a trade show, I met some people, but they were building these cure rooms similar to the curing of cheese and meats, like, and then building it out for cultivation facilities. Have you ever heard of that? Like those cheese curing rooms or the meat curing rooms?
it is. But I love the philosophy behind it because they have so many years studying that what's the best cheese. And I had a friend go to Scotland 2 years ago, and he was like, I went into this house and they rescued us, and they had cheese on the shelf. It was like 50 years old. It could just sit on the shelf. And, that's
Wow.
a completely different product. So carrying cannabis as a plant like that we use to smoke like tobacco is a little different. But for craft, you want to bring it down slowly. You don't want to be, let's bring it into a room that's 40% right away. You got to bring it down with the plant to give it a good natural cure. So cheese and
Yeah.
meat rooms, fine, as long as you have the right airflow and it'll be out correctly.
I think you're going to like this next question. In a competitive wholesale environment, what has helped AJ stand out with retailers and consumers? Because this has been the battle, right? And a battle for everyone, a good lesson for anyone in a new emerging market. Eventually, the market becomes saturated, right? In the early days, you were probably getting really super high prices for product, but you've also maintained you refuse to drop below a number, right? You won't do it. And like, how have you combated those challenges? Because I'm sure it has to be a lot of conversations with people, and because people want to get quality cannabis for super cheap price.
Well, I've been doing this for a while. We do have a following. And there are people out there, like I always was, whenever I go to eat or whatever I do, I want to get the best. And they're willing to pay for that. And we have people who I still get messages every week, multiple messages from all over the world, really, but especially here in
Wow.
Colorado. I'm coming to Colorado. I know people talk about you, and they're looking for a lot of people medicinally wise. That's why I stayed in it. That's why I was initially, is for medicinal marijuana. And if you have a full spectrum of cannabinoids and terpenes and flavonoids, everything, they're going to search that out. So people search us out. And once they've found us and they've experienced what we provide, they don't go anywhere else. And
Wow.
it's been a really good sticking point. It's kept us where we're at. I don't really have to sell any longer. It's already sold. People are
I love
waiting
that.
for it. And I'm trying to provide what people are looking for. We're even providing 50-50 or 60-40 CBD THC. We're trying to give customers what they need for themselves medicinally, but also on just the highest quality product as well.
Yeah. I actually do admire that about you, because I think a lot of growers have felt the pressure to cave and to say, the market's telling me I have to do this. But you weren't, you were like, you're not going to tell me what to do, basically, to the market. And I just think that's a good lesson for listeners. Everybody's going to have to figure out their own way and how they're going to stand out, which that's something that you've managed to do. Do you guys do, I'm just curious if you do a low THC, high CBD
We
strain at all?
do.
Wow, that's awesome.
We have a few different, a couple now. We had a few, but like Margie's Gift, I think it's 6% THC, 12 CBD.
Wow.
And we have, it's like off the shelf and it grows differently, which is
Mm.
a CBD, heavy CBD plant doesn't yield the same. It doesn't look as fancy and all of those things. But I'm like, yes, I will grow this and I want to for people who need it. But you're still going to pay, even though I have the original OG or the AJ push or whatever. Those are nobody ever questioned. But when you look at the CBD, it's brown, a different looking plant, but the properties it provides, and usually you're like, whoa, this is a completely different feel. It's all the effects that what you're looking for.
Yeah, I was asking because I think it's important. Do you know the gals over at Leaf 411?
I don't.
It's a cannabis nurse network that patients can call to learn about dosing and different strains. They're all for patients and veterans, and they're always talking about they wish more cultivation facilities grew like what we're talking about, a higher percentage CBD, lower percentage THC, because there's a lot of patients or people, they might not be medical cannabis patients. They could be shopping on the adult use side, but that they need strains like that. And it's not always about, I need to have 25% THC and get blasted out of my mind. There's actually a really large demographic of people who don't actually want to be super high, right? And they want to smoke flower. Maybe they want to vaporize it or whatnot. So that's why I asked that question if you're growing something like that. And there are people who will seek out those strains.
I'd like to elaborate a little bit on that. The whole, I want 32%. It's just a manipulation of your products. People will dry it out extra. There's ways to make it look higher than it is.
Yeah.
We really want to look more at what are the terpenes in this plant. Like if you have just terpenes or just THC or dabs or something, terpenes are going to do way more for you than that. And that's what's in the plant naturally. So if you're looking for a medical purpose for that, flavonoid you get spoken about a lot. It was before.
It was
6-7 years ago. And that's, I don't know why we steered away from that. Like these are medicinal values to this plant that should be on the forefront, and they were, and by pump and dump grows.
Yeah, I think pump and dump grows honestly comes with the territory of the legalization of adult use cannabis, unfortunately. I think we were talking about those things and really, I don't know, gearing things towards patients and medical needs in the early days because we were very medical. And then adult use happened and it was the pump and dump and it was about high THC percentages, and people are not educated the correct way when it comes to really understanding all the different things about the plant and consuming it. I think that's why, honestly, the hemp market did so well because people really don't want to be high. And it was a lot easier to buy something and not get blitzed out of your mind. And for us in the regulated cannabis industry, we're like, let's get everyone high. Let's get everyone really high. Gosh, it's crazy. I remember seeing, this is in the early days of medical, and I think it's higher, but I remember people buying drinks that were like 500 milligrams, 1,000 milligrams. And I used to have people come in going, oh yeah, I can drink 3 of these and nothing happens. And I would sit there and go, God, I would need to be taken to the hospital if that happens.
Yeah. Even now, you can have 100 milligram medical, but only 10 and recreational, which is wild. But again, to the point, like our strain Indiana Old Time Bubblegum, it's just at 18%. Every time it's 18 and a half, 18 after that. The terpenes are like 6, 5, 6. You smoke that one, it gets to 32%, whatever. The bubblegum will win every time because it's a full effect plant.
Yeah. Do you list your terps on your labels? I'm just curious if you do.
We do. We send it out with our testing, but not all the dispensaries put it on there. So it's up to the dispensary.
Crazy? You know what's wild? When you go to Michigan, and I don't know if you ever went to Michigan and look at the packaging, they're all about the terps, man. They have like pictures, the packaging, and they'll have all these little like image icons, like orange peel or whatever. I'm just making things up. But you'll look at the packaging and it'll have all the terpene profile on it. They love the terpene profile in Michigan. But for Colorado, they just don't want to talk about the terpenes at all. For some reason, we're stuck in the dark ages and everybody wants 29% THC.
There's good people. Eric from Sweetwater Farms in Washington State, he has all terpene profiles. Nicole Kennebeck up in Michigan.
Nicole.
She used to work at Willie's. Yes, Nicole.
I know Nicole. Yeah, she's in Michigan now. Yeah, I love her.
Yeah, she's great. So there are good people like pushing the truth, but there's so much publicity and
I got to get Nicole on my podcast. I'm going to have to reach out to her. What I want to cover is lessons for operators. From your experience, what are the most common mistakes that new cultivators make when launching their first facility?
Atmospheric control and
Mm.
cleanliness. That's so huge. And then genetic. But take your time and go slow. Don't race forward and skip over the simple, easy things that matter most.
I can see how that happens. Here's the challenge, because we actually worked at a cultivation facility where you came in and you redid it. It was retrofitted up in Gunnison.
They're just
I'd never
well,
met Fred, but I was up there when the previous owner owned it. And a lot of times they're retrofitting, I think that one was like a car wash, and they're retrofitting all these crazy different buildings. I think a lot of that has challenges, don't you think so too? Because you're saying the environmental controls. That place definitely had really horrible environmental controls. And I bet you there's thousands of grows that are just like that one out there in the United States right now. Copy and paste, baby. Copy and paste.
And so that's where I started. I was building them in like nice houses and in garages and crazy places all over Cali. And so I'm very skilled at retrofitting something that was not designed for purpose to make it work really well. It's not like my building, which is purpose designed from the beginning ground up. But yeah, I've done that a lot. And you can do that. Again, you're creating problems to fight constantly. But you can do it. You can be successful as long as you have a Fred or somebody who be really good at it. Because we had to get rid of the people there.
Yeah,
and
we did.
And then we brought in, I was like, you need this guy. And this guy came in and he is doing extremely well.
He's crushing it. He's crushing it.
And I dropped their bills down. I built them the perfect little place where you could in that space. And now he's doing really well.
Yeah, I remember you guys were gutting it when I was up there doing work.
PVC walls. I did some of the geotech that I used here or there. I dropped their bills by a lot and built something that's
awesome. What's one operational lesson that took you years to learn that would save new operators a lot of time and money? Was it around testing? That's like a knife in the stomach. I know testing is brutal.
It's so subjective. Where are we talking? Cali, Colorado, Washington, Oklahoma, New Jersey. So everybody has different rules. Like, it's challenging. There's not one pinpoint thing I could say because every state has different regulations and rules and testing, everything. But again, the number one thing ever is cleanliness, believe it or not. Like, every step of when you walk in the door, every step of the way, keep it clean. Everything, always. Don't ever leave without mopping or whatever it is you need to do to make sure everything around you is as clean as it can be all the time.
It's for people who aren't in the cannabis industry or are brand new, they would really be shocked if they knew the truth of how dirty a lot of these cultivation facilities are. And I only know that, once again, I'm not a grower. However, I've audited hundreds. I've audited in 10 years of auditing cultivation facilities. And I know instantly when I walk through the first door if it's going to be clean or not.
The first door, exactly.
You can determine and make up your mind within the first door that you walk through. And if the rest of the experience is going to be like. And the same for a dispensary too, honestly. I'm talking from clean, compliance. Obviously, dispensaries and grows are different. And I'm sure that happens with you. Like, the minute you walk in a grow, instantly, right away.
Instantly. Right? Even the way people are dressed, just everything. The floor, the walls, whatever you have around, the way you're dressed, the attitude toward people, it all affects everything around you.
I bet your plants love rainforest music.
Oh, I do. Everybody does. So we have the old building and the new one, and you just want to be in the new one. You walk in and birds are chirping. And
that's amazing. Most grows I've been into, they play a lot of Grateful Dead. Actually, I've been into a lot of grows that play the Dead.
I know.
I'm just saying Grateful Dead is a very popular band choice for in cultivation facilities for some reason.
It is.
Or Bob Marley reggae music.
That's what people like. I'm on this and I'm great, but really, look at a rainforest. What's the noise in a rainforest? What's the frequency? What's the vibration? What's the mood and feel? That's We're trying to mimic the perfect environment for it.
Rainforests are fascinating if you ever get a chance to go visit one.
Oh,
What I love is like the natural decomposing of all the plant life. And if trees fall down, they're not like, oh, we got to go in and pull out these trees. And the trees just fall down and do whatever. My favorite part is seeing all the new life growing out of all the dead trees. And it's like the tree dies, it then becomes something else and it's living again.
The insects and worms and bugs and things in our soil, when you think of something growing out of the soil, it's taking the nutrients with it. When it dies, it goes right back in the soil.
Yeah. And what's fascinating too about Washington State is not all the rainforests are full of water. I think some of them are like a dry rainforest, which I thought was really cool too. So it's a really cool experience to see the cycle of life in the rainforest. And that's basically living soil. I think some of your pictures I saw online, you had mushrooms growing up soil.
Yeah.
Do you even know what kind of mushrooms they are?
No, it just pop up. Yeah,
that's crazy. That's so wild. I was like, wow, look at all those mushrooms.
We grow radishes and cilantro and clovers. And we're starting to I'm putting rose bushes in. I'm starting to put a lot more variety in the building right now. Our aloe plants are like 6 feet tall.
Oh, wow.
And we use aloe. We don't buy anything to clone. We use aloe to clone. We use aloe in our water.
Oh, I love that. Instead of the cloning gel because if you think about it, aloe is a natural cloning gel.
Oh, yeah.
If you squeeze an aloe plant, like that slimy little jelly stuff comes out, and that's the same as cloning gel.
It is. We have to do something with it. So I'm not telling you what it is, but
I have to figure it out. Those that are curious and listening. You're gonna have to be like AJ, where he spent 10 years working on this of his life.
I even put aloe all over my face and skin now, like every time I'm at the farm.
I see. There's my aloe plant. It's not very big, but
I think it looks so good, Jen.
I have to say, it fell. Well, no, it fell and the pot broke, and I had to put it in a new pot, and it lost about 6 big stalks off of it. So it's more of a smushed looking aloe plant, but it's slowly coming back to life.
Ours are all flowering right now. They have giant flowers coming out of them. It's really cool.
Oh, wow. I had no idea they even flowered. That's so cool. Industry perspective I want to talk about, and this is going to be interesting. How has the cannabis cultivation landscape changed since you first started? Because you have so much experience. Can you name just maybe top 3 things that have changed? Because I know there's probably more than that.
All the good growers, not all, but many have fallen out. Price change is getting 25% of what it used to be. Regulation, through the roof. Testing is ridiculous. Our testing costs are probably up 400%.
Can you give a number on testing?
I'll tell you this. We used to pay per strain $150, $200. Now it's over $1,000. And if you're limited now, we're used to want to provide lots of strains and lots of different variety. You got to cut back heavily just to be able to keep the doors open. Everything that's happening is basically legislation from people who have giant farms. And it's good, smart business, but it's really hurting the craft growers.
Wow. That's great. 400%. That's a big increase. That's crazy. That's crazy. I always tell people when they get their dispensary open, they're like, I want to open a grow. I want to open a grow. And I'm like, you're going to have to do testing. Like right now, you think you think the dispensary is hard? Get into the grow. Now you can get recalls and all this crazy stuff can happen. And the cost of testing and packaging, the dispensary, you're just buying product and selling it. I think it's probably one of the easiest of the licensed facilities to operate by far, and not nearly as much that you have to invest when it comes to the cultivate. Running a dispensary obviously has its challenges, but you're not having to really pay for the cost of testing and packaging, and it's just a lot different. And if you get caught up in a recall, we see it all the time. I feel like every week a new recall comes out in Colorado.
Been recalled on product that passed, and then it's under the care of someone else.
Oh, I
You
know.
could go put something perfect in a spot and it will grow mold if you put in a hot spot or whatever. It's so unfair. It's not.
I know. And by the way, that happens in every state. They call it every state it's different, whether it's selective or basically what we're referring to, AJ and I, is where once the cultivation facility or the manufacturer sells a product where it's packaged, already been tested and sold and transferred to the dispensary, and then the regulators come in, and this actually happens in Michigan and Missouri and all these other states, and it's happening like crazy in Colorado is then they go into the dispensary and they start pulling things randomly and they send it off to a lab and it's testing for this or whatnot. And now we're going to do a recall and it has to get pulled off the shelves. And so that's the challenge. Is the issue coming from the lab? Is it coming from the originating license? Or is it how it's being stored in the dispensary and how long did it sit in the dispensary? Was the environment controlled? And let's just say there's thousands of different things that it could be. I think that's what's challenging because I think at the end of the day, it really hurts the manufacturer or the cultivation the most. The dispensary, they might have their product tied up that they paid for. But at the end of the day, I think the cultivation facility or that manufacturer facility ends up having to give money back. And we've seen huge recalls, especially in Michigan, that put people out of business. I don't know if you ever paid attention to what happened in
Oh, yeah.
Michigan. AJ, they had one of the largest recalls, I think, in the United States, and it crushed operators. It put people out of business in Michigan.
Yeah. It's terrible. Even the
It,
heavy metals is the giant grows are all hydro. There's no heavy metals and that isn't soil. And most of the heavy metal testing are things that are ever present anywhere in the world. And it's tested at the limit where it is normally there. So
yeah, yeah.
really, you know,
Do you think we're still moving towards large scale cultivation, or do you think people are now more interested in craft growing?
large scale. There's still
Wow.
more people being introduced as it expands to more states. Oh, I got this new log on it, 82%. It's just education isn't there. As time keeps going, people will start to educate themselves. But right now, it's just not there.
Do you think craft belongs to small operators then?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for small operators.
I don't know any large operators being crowd.
Yeah, they're pumping it out,
Dumb it down.
pump and dump. And wrapping up, for anybody who's starting a cultivation facility, what advice would you give them before they plant their first crop?
Clean your
Bes-
building.
I thought you were going to say, call me
Yeah, call me.
in your
Yeah.
building.
Yeah, and call me.
That's right. Oh my gosh, my friend. Thanks for coming on. This was such a treat to have you
Yeah,
on and have this
thank you for
conversation.
having me.
Yeah, no, it's been great. I'm a big AJ fan. So
I'm a big Jenny fan.
I know you are. Yeah, we've had some good times together. For everyone listening, I'll have AJ's information in the description box. And so if you want to connect with him, please do. And for those who like to stream podcasts, we're available on Apple and Spotify and wherever you like to listen. And then also please check out my YouTube channel, which is Under the Microscope with Jenny. So thanks again, AJ. I appreciate you being here. And just thanks to all of our listeners. And by the way, I think we have listeners in over 25 states, and I last counted, we are at 9 countries.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's been incredible, all the people tuning in.
Thank you.
Yeah. AJ, we want to go to the EU, don't we?
Yes, we do. We
Yeah, we're
do.
ready. We're ready to start doing some things over in Europe. Thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you all next week.